Okay, we've been talking for a little while about the discussions that Jesus had with his disciples just before he went to the cross. One of the things that happened was officially titled the Lord's Supper or the Last Supper, and in some circles that's known as the Lord's Table. So thus I had derived the name Table Talk for us to talk about what they talked about that night around that table. We spent some time talking about Holy Spirit characteristics as kind of a precursor to he is the agent by which all this is going to take place. So we needed to understand some things about him and how he wants to operate. And then that should enable us to better grasp what Jesus was actually saying to his disciples. In that vein, we've covered verses 1 through 27 from John chapter 14, and today we're going to do the rest of that chapter verses 27 through 31 from John 14. So let's get right into that. John 14, 27 through 31. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. You heard me say, I'm going away and coming back to you. If you loved me, you would be glad that I'm going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I. I've told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you will believe. I will not say much more to you, for the prince of this world is coming. He has no hold over me. But he comes so that the world may learn that I love the Father and do exactly what my Father has commanded me. Okay. Today we're going to talk about this idea, an expectedly unexpected gift. Say that 3 times fast. An expectedly unexpected gift. I'll try it one more time. An expectedly unexpected gift. So here we go. Verse 27. Let's read that again, then we'll start breaking it down. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. I see 3 different sentences in that version, in this verse, and each sentence contains kind of a different thought on the verse, a different perspective on the verse. So we're going to consider each of them, each of the phrases, each of the sentences separately. The first sentence, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. So if I'm going to call that partial A, let's read that in some other versions. Peace I leave with you, my own peace I now give and bequeath to you. What is bequeath? Inherit? Okay. It's more of a legal term than a just a passing gift sort of thing. It's more of a, there's more formality associating with bequeath than with just give. There's more legalism, and I'm not saying in a bad way. There's more legalistic, legal characteristics associated with that. Yeah. Yes, you're exactly right. Yes. The spiritual realm is based on legality. Legality. Yes. And Satan, even though he's a rule breaker, he also insists that the rules be followed. And God, as his throne is built upon justice and righteousness, he has to follow the rules that he set up. It would not be within his character for him to set up a way the system works and then for him to be able to circumvent it or go around it. He has to follow his own rules. I will go away, but I will give you a gift of peace. Give and yours to keep. So did Jesus have the legal right to have whatever peace he had and then give it to the disciples? He did. Jesus was offering the peace that he himself possessed. Does it surprise us that he had peace, first and foremost? Or does it surprise us that he could give it away? I'm sure that this statement raised a few eyebrows in the room that night. Now, why do I say that? We're going to get into that in just a minute, but think about this from their perspective, not from, okay, we've got years and years of history. We can read the rest of the story. We know what happens next. We can read it over and over again. As this is happening live, as this is happening in real time, if you were sitting around the table that night, imagine hearing this And I can just imagine that some eyebrows went up the moment that he said this. Why? Isaiah 9, 6 and 7. Isaiah 9, 6 and 7. A child is born to us, a son is given to us, and authority will be on his shoulders. He will be named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. Then verse 7. There will be a vast authority and endless peace for David's throne and for his kingdom, establishing and sustaining it with justice and righteousness now and forever. The zeal of the Lord of heavenly forces will do this. Now, I am certain that at least one person in the room that night went back to this verse, this messianic promise, the moment that Jesus started talking about peace. My peace I give you. And I'm sure that one of them went to this verse, okay, this is about to get interesting. Why would I say that? At least at some level, they all believe that somehow that Jesus was the person that this verse is talking about. They were probably at varying stages of that belief, but they were beginning to concede the idea that Jesus was this guy. This verse that they had long heard and long expected and long been waiting for, Jesus was somehow going to fulfill all this. As such, if he was really that person, he would usher in an era of endless peace for David's kingdom. He would establish and sustain it with justice and righteousness now and forever. Zeal for God would be part of this thing that makes this possible. Now, think back just a few days. What had they just witnessed a few days earlier? Jesus coming into Jerusalem and the whole city saying, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Messiah, son of David. What were they doing? They were legally acknowledging him as their king, as this person coming to do this. At the end of the verse, the zeal of the Lord will help accomplish this. The zeal of the Lord will be involved in doing this. Shortly after he came into Jerusalem to this fanfare, what did Jesus do? He went to the temple and made a mess. He started tearing stuff up. And what did he attribute his fit, his tirade, his exploit there? What did he attribute that to? The zeal for thine house has consumed me. So could you say that within the last week, Jesus had done more to fulfill this than he had ever done at that point in his ministry? So when he now says around the table, hey, I'm getting ready to do something, and they haven't really understood yet what he's talking about, what he's going to do. I have this peace, and I'm about to give it to you. Don't you think that they went to this in light of the recent events and started thinking, okay, here it comes. Here he's about to make a shift. He's about to make a declaration. He's about to do something that we've been expecting him to do more closely in line with this kingdom thing where he's going to take over. Bring it on, Jesus. We're ready. We're right behind you. Let's go. What are you about to say next? My peace I give you. My peace I leave with you. It's mine to give. I'm giving it to you. Okay, this is sounding good. This is sounding interesting. This is what we've been waiting on. This is what we've been expecting. Come on, Jesus, let's go. Now, it doesn't go the direction that they think it's going to go, but I'm telling you that this is at least where one of their heads went. In trying to put this whole picture of the Messiah coming to rule, coming to reign, coming to conquer, coming to set them free from Rome. And part of that ambition was the result of peace. It was fueled by zeal, and they had just seen both of those things demonstrated. They had just seen him acknowledged as King of the Jews, as the legal heir to the throne of David. All these things are playing in their mind. Now Jesus says, my peace I leave with you. Okay, now he's starting to operate as Prince of Peace. Yay, what's coming next? Let's go. Come on, Jesus, tell us. We're right behind you. Let's go. Was the peace that Jesus was offering them at that moment the peace that they expected from this? It wasn't. It was a different kind of peace. What kind of peace was he offering them? Let's talk about that. Back to our verse. John 14:27. Again, I'm calling this partial A, that first sentence. Peace I leave with you, my perfect peace I give you. So it wasn't just peace, it was perfect peace. What I'm leaving you is shalom. I'm giving you my shalom. What does shalom mean? Nothing missing, nothing broken. I'm giving you the peace that I operate in. I'm giving you the ability to walk in a state where there's nothing missing, nothing broken. I leave you peace. This is from the EXB, and this red portion is like a comment that's built into the verse. I leave you peace. The Greek word for peace reflects the Hebrew shalom, a typical Hebrew farewell, but Jesus' peace, in the sense of wholeness, is also a characteristic of the Messianic kingdom. So with it has this idea of wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken, whole, complete, lacking nothing. That is this concept of peace that Jesus was offering them. My peace I give to you. These versions also suggest that Jesus was not talking about peace in the way that they understood it. There might be something different to their understanding, to their perception, to their filter, if you will, of this peace that he was offering. Let's go back to Isaiah. Read it from the Message this time. Isaiah 9, 6 and 7 from the Message. For a child has been born for us, the gift of a son for us. He'll take over the running of the world. That sounds interesting. He'll take over the running of the world. His names will be Amazing Counselor, Strong God, Eternal Father, Prince of Wholeness, instead of Prince of Peace. His ruling authority will grow, and will be no limits to the wholeness that he brings. He'll rule from the historic David throne over that promised kingdom. He'll put the kingdom on a firm footing and keep it going with fair dealing and right living, beginning now and lasting always. The zeal of God of the angel armies will do all of this. Do you think they associated peace as wholeness to this idea of Jesus being the Prince of Peace? They wanted a ruler. They wanted a conqueror. They wanted a king. They wanted a deliverer. And he was going to do all those things, but in a vastly different way than what they expected. Is all of this stuff going to happen, like the military stuff, the kingdom stuff, the ruling stuff? Yes, when he comes back. Not on the first mission, not on the first tour. And they didn't even realize that there were two tours involved. He was going to do part of it at one phase, and then the second part of it at a later date. Verse 6 from the Voice. Hope of all hopes, dream of our dreams. A child is born, sweet breathed. A son is given to us, a living gift. And even now, with tiny features and dewy hair, he is great. The power of leadership and his weight of authority will rest upon his shoulders. His name we'll know in many ways. He'll be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Dear Father, Everlasting, Ever Present, Never Failing, Master of Wholeness, Prince of Peace. The word here for peace in Hebrew is shalom. We've talked about that. Hebrew H5965, if you want to look it up. Among other things, it means completeness, safety, soundness, welfare, health, prosperity, peace, quiet, tranquility, and contentment. That's a pretty big word. There's a lot of concepts. There's a lot of ground to cover in that word for peace. My peace, my completeness, my safety, my soundness, my welfare, my health, my prosperity. For those of you that have been around me, what does that sound like? There's another word that has some of those sort of elements. Holy Spirit, he's responsible for bringing it all to pass. The word that I was thinking of was salvation or saved. Sozo, soteria. If you do a word study on that, most of these same concepts are included in salvation. Because salvation is the representation of peace, of wholeness, of nothing missing, nothing broken. In John 14:27, the Greek word is irene, G1515, if you want to look that one up, which means a state of national tranquility, exemption from the rage and havoc of war, peace between individuals, harmony, concord, security, safety, prosperity, felicity, the way that leads to Messiah's peace, and it had in parentheses, salvation. The way that leads to Messiah's peace, or the way that leads to salvation, is this idea that the New Testament is now presenting as peace. The tranquil state of a soul assured of its salvation through Christ, fearing nothing from God and content with its earthly lot, whatever that might be. And the blessed state of devout and upright men after death. Here's some versions that begin to define this peace from John. I'm leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. I'm leaving you well and whole. That is my parting gift to you, peace. My peace is the legacy that I leave to you. Now, if peace, as the world typically defines it, is absence of conflict, that's how most of us have our concept of peace. Oh, there's peace in the Middle East. What does that mean? They're not fighting today. They're not killing each other today. I just want peace in my family at Christmas time. What are you saying? I don't want there to be a huge argument at the dinner table. I don't want there to be a fight while we're opening presents. I want there to be, I want it to be tranquil. I want it to be calm. I want there to be the absence of conflict. That's usually how we understand peace. That's usually how we define it. That's certainly how the world defines it. So if it were only the absence of conflict, so we're going to limit peace, as Jesus is talking here, to this idea, it's only the absence of conflict. How in the world does that affect your mind and your heart? Now, certainly, if your home is peaceful, if there is no conflict, you'll feel better. You'll be in a better spot. But does that really affect your heart and your mind? Okay.
There isn't. There can't be. There's going to be conflict in your life in one form or another. So to sit there and just equate peace to absence of conflict is you're lying to yourself.
Is that the way the world defines it, or am I missing something?
The world.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that in general that we're in agreement that that's how most people are going to look at peace. Right. You're trying to get rid of the. Okay.
Your sense is to not feel that conflict.
So if peace were just the absence of conflict, removal of all the conflict, can that gift, can that definition be imparted to your mind and to your soul? Or the fact that it's going into your mind and your soul, or your mind and your heart, you do have to accept it, and you do have to fight for it. You have to contend from that position of peace. Yes, it's a gift that has to be received. Absolutely.
Right. It's not, yes, you have to work for that peace. It's not going to, it will be given to you, but you're required to be active in getting it.
But if Jesus is giving peace to your mind and peace to your heart, is that before or after the absence of conflict? Or does it relate to the absence of conflict? What I'm saying is, if this is peace, as Jesus is defining it, as Jesus is giving it, and he's putting it in your heart and in your mind, it may result in you having more absence of conflict. It may not, but it doesn't really matter because in your heart and in your mind, you're still at peace. So it's separate to what? Oh, go ahead. Oh, that's fine. Let's connect it in a small way. Okay. One will affect the other. All right. Okay. Absolutely. And the Holy Spirit is the agent of all these things that he's given us. That's why we talked about him first. It's his presence, it's his ability, it's his revelation that make these concepts real to us and cause us to pursue them, cause us to go after them, cause us to understand them, to apply them. Absolutely. You can't get to any of this without him. But it's this nature of peace that I'm talking about now. It's different than what the world defines it to be. Is it possible for you to be peaceful on the inside and junk going on, craziness all around you?
It can be.
It can be.
How do you know it's possible? You have to read his word.
Right.
That's the only way you can actually actually have peace because you read his word, you gotta trust it,
Right.
and then, the Holy Spirit does its job, and in the midst of chaos, you can have peace. It's up to you to decide, am I gonna listen to my flesh? Or am I gonna
Right.
listen to the
Now, is that option available for everybody?
Because not everybody, those who don't have Christ can't.
There you go. That's that. With him, with his presence comes this ability to even get to this idea of I'm at peace in my mind and in my heart, whether there's chaos or whether there's actual peace around me.
It's just, the thought came to mind, without these words from God, life would be terrifying.
Right.
And it was. Thought was fun, but look back, it's
think there's a shift where before you're a believer, you always think that you're gonna work out the, whatever's going on around you, you know,
You're going to solve it. You're going to fix it. Okay.
It shifts, we're gonna fix it.
Or you're going to remove yourself from it.
Yeah.
So you'll try to run to get to peace.
Stay in peace, and it's not like you're doing it by yourself.
Right. Right. Yes. Yeah, it can. Yes. And without the internal peace, we're so dominated by what's going on externally. We really don't have much choice but to accept and deal and allow as inputs into our life what is happening around us. It gets in from the outside. And this is saying the peace that Jesus wants us to operate in starts on the inside and then it works its way out, not the other direction. Does that make sense? I'm leaving you well and whole. That's my parting gift to you. Wow, what a gift. I'm going to give you a thing. I'm going to give you a device. I'm going to give you a new whatever, fill in the blank. And then Jesus says, yeah, that's nice, but I choose to give you a gift that says, I'm going to leave you well. I'm going to leave you whole. I'm going to leave you in a spot where there's nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking in your emotions, nothing lacking in your relationships, nothing lacking in your developments, nothing lacking in whatever pertains to your life, so that you're peaceful on the inside and then it doesn't really matter what's happening on the outside. But if you get strong and peaceful on the inside, that will force its way out and start to change the stuff going on outside as well. And then this last one, my peace is the legacy I leave to you. My peace is the legacy I leave to you. Can legacy be just absence of conflict? How long is that legacy going to last? Oh, that so-and-so over there was really good at making conflict go away. Well, what happens after they're gone? Are they still going to be really good at making conflict go away? Is that a legacy? They're not there to do that legacy anymore. But how can peace, how can nothing missing, nothing broken, how can that carry on as a legacy? Ideally, you're propagating that to the next generation. You're propagating that to the people around you. You're propagating that to the people who are listening to you. You are showing them how to live this life in such a way that they too can walk with nothing missing, nothing broken. So that can be a legacy as opposed to what an individual could do in a given situation. Let's look at the second part of the verse. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not let it be afraid. So the second sentence, I do not give to you as the world gives. So Jesus offers peace, and it's a different kind of peace. So let's talk about this. I do not give to you as the world gives. Some other versions. I don't give the way the world gives. It's not like a gift that this world gives. I don't leave you the way you're used to being left, feeling abandoned, bereft. Now, before Christ, and when people leave, have you ever felt you were being left, that you were being abandoned, that you were being bereft? That's kind of a fun word, bereft. And isn't that the way that the world does it? Isn't that the way that the world leaves? Isn't that the way that the world gives its, even if it is defined as the absence of conflict, isn't that the way that the world does it? It's very temporary. It's very works based. It's very it's very transactional. It's very, there are always elements about whatever's going on in this whole peace thing from their perspective. These versions focus on the way that Jesus gives being different than the way that the world gives. Yes.
What makes you whole so you can be peace.
Yes.
Because it's not whole.
Yes. You can be really at peace. Now, does that mean you're not ever going to have a problem? It doesn't mean that at all. But even in the midst of craziness, I still know that God has made me whole. God has made me complete. God has put me in a spot where I'm not missing anything that is absolutely necessary for the situation. I've got everything that's needed. He's going to help me. He's going to carry me. He's going to take me by the hand and lead me through this. And then we'll see the resolution. Yes.
It leaves a pool.
Okay.
And it, depending on what's being taken, it can wreck it pretty bad.
Okay.
And the world can't sympathize with you, empathize with you, it doesn't care.
Okay.
And when, something or someone is taken from you, and you don't have a really good relationship with Jesus, if you don't know what Jesus is telling you, that I'll never leave you abandoned as an orphan, it can wreck you
Right.
bad. And I've witnessed it. And again, it just goes back that if you don't know this, how can you have peace other than through
Real peace, not fabricated. You're right.
Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, you can have a worldly peace, which whether that's money or whatever you want to associate peace to, but it's not the same peace.
Right.
And with Jesus, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the feelings, you're not going to go through the things, you're going to experience all these things God has given you, your emotions, and you're going to feel these things, but yet God has a definition for everything that you're experiencing. He can tell you, you're going to feel this, but guess what? I'm in charge of that. You're going to do this, but guess what? I'm in charge of that as well. And so if you're not aware of these things, it's really hard.
Right.
And the thing is that you've got to be willing and be willing to persevere through it. You gotta work this out. Because as soon as you step away from it, you're just left out on your own. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, if you step away from God, He will step back from you. He'll let you try to figure it out on your own. And I probably can safely say you're not gonna do too well without it. You know?
And most of us have tried that path and
Yeah.
reached that same conclusion.
The immediate result, that's being, for me, like being impatient. You're not getting the immediate result that you're wanting. And God's not telling you, He's like, hey man, some things He will take from you. He will help you like quickly. But there's other times you gotta be like, I got you, you're gonna have to walk through this one.
Right.
Because in the end, you're gonna come out okay. And you're gonna look
And you're
back.
going to grow during the process.
Yeah, and you're gonna look back and see where I was with you. And I was showing you. You're gonna show you your mistakes, but He's gonna show you the victory.
Okay, let's talk about this idea of a gift for a minute. Jesus is likening this peace that He's offering as a gift. So when somebody operating in the world system gives you a gift, where does your head go? What does your head start thinking about immediately when a person just kind of randomly, unexpectedly gives you a gift? Really? Is that where your mind really goes? Okay. What are you up to? Okay. Right. What? Okay. Again, Floyd's not operating in this system, so you wouldn't think that of him, even though it could still happen within people that are operating as believers. But I'm talking about somebody that is not a believer, don't claim to be a believer at all. They suddenly give you something. You're like, okay, what is your motive here? What string is attached to this? What is this going to cost me? Where's the catch? Where's the payback? It's a manipulation. We're so cynical that nobody could just do it because their hearts are pure and they're thinking about you and they had a good thought. No, there's an angle here. There's something, and I don't want to be tricked. I don't want to be deceived. I don't want to be manipulated. I don't want to be coerced. I don't want to be in a spot now where I have to do something for them, or I have to say something or help them in some way because they gave me this gift and I received it. Isn't that the way the world gives? So Jesus, one of the things that Jesus is saying here is, I don't give gifts like they do. The way that I give gifts is different than the way that they give gifts.